Hello my friends, this is the Real Deal Politics again. Today we're going to talk about taxes. Well, just what is the tax problem? That's what we're going to cover in this presentation. We're going to cover all the following aspects of the tax problem. The problems with the current tax system are that, number one, it penalizes work and productivity with excessively high tax rates. There's a large tax bias against savings and investment, which is how poor and middle class people get ahead. There is quadruple taxation. You have capital gains, corporate tax, personal tax, death tax, embedded taxes everywhere. I would say probably more than quadruple. It's a huge amount of taxation. Time multiplied by itself ends up just stifling business and growth. It has all kinds of unfair loopholes that can be used by certain people, especially rich people, but not by others, like middle class. It requires an oppressive IRS that can punish you without a trial or jury. Let's admit it, we all live in fear of the IRS, and for good reason. They can exact punishment. They are the judge, jury, and executioner for tax matters. So basically everyone is forced to work for the IRS without pay. 3 to 4 months of the year, the average tax-paying citizen is forced to work directly for the IRS. None of that money for 3 to 4 months out of the year, on average, is theirs. You are working for the government for free. Okay? Just want you to think about that for a minute. Plus the time and the effort to file taxes, something that nobody likes doing except geeky tax accountants and tax lawyers. They may like doing that sort of thing. I don't know. They do it for a living. I hope they like it. Actually, I hope they don't. But you have to file those taxes with your own time and or money, blood, sweat, and tears. You do that for free for the government. Great system, huh? Well, this is what has led to the Tea Party movement. It stands for taxed enough already. They know that $1 trillion in added federal spending this year will only mean new tax increases. Obama says that they should thank him, but nobody's taxes have decreased yet, nor will they. The Obama administration will increase taxes starting in January 2011 by letting the Bush tax cuts expire. That's in quotes because it's a tax hike. Unless the GOP gains enough seats in November to override a veto, because they'll actually have to pass something that says we're going to preserve the tax cuts that were in place. In other words, we're not going to raise taxes. That will require an act passed by Congress. So, the Tea Party as a third party, I'm going to give you my personal thoughts on this. This is not a good idea. This results in a split GOP for the most part. Only a very small percentage of Democrats would come in. That means the Democrat Party will get a guaranteed majority for many years. The Democrats are already bankrupting our country. We know, we can see the GDP fall off, unemployment rise. Their agenda will only result in higher taxes, higher unemployment, more governmental control and intrusion into your life, socialism, fascism, and eventually communism. So, and that could all be caused if you try to erect a third party that's going to split the GOP and give the Democratic Party a clear majority. How do taxes work? Quick lesson here. If you increase top rate taxes, the businesses pass these taxes on to everyone else. Okay? They're not going to try to give up their profits or their executive salaries. Okay, that's just not what businesses do. They're in it for profit. Okay, so when you increase their taxes, they lay off employees, they decrease wages, they increase prices, or all of the above. The consumers and the working class is what gets the shaft when the taxes are increased, because the top rate tax holders in that bracket, they are the people that run big businesses in the United States. They're not going to forfeit their salaries unless government takes them over, which is fascism. Okay? If you lower the top rate taxes, small businesses actually grow. They hire more employees. All businesses are able to hire more employees, and they'll gladly do so because it means more profit. They have more goods and services available at lower prices, and rich people buy more expensive things, which is a big thing because that creates jobs. Think about a yacht. How many jobs does it take to create a yacht? Something the likes of what only the very rich have. It gives a lot of poor and middle class people jobs. So the consumers and the workers win in that case. The notion that increasing taxes on the top earners to get revenge on them is faulty because everybody loses. And look at the top rate taxpayers. The top 1% currently pay 37% of the federal tax bill. The top 10% pay 65%, and the top half pay 96%. So who is it you're trying to get a revenge on? People that are footing the entire tax bill basically to begin with. It doesn't make any sense to have them pay a higher share than they're already paying. Okay, they're paying a large share of taxation. Look, share of income, always smaller than share of taxation. Share of taxation for the top 25% is 85% of the tax bill. Now the bottom bracket is the only one that doesn't pay a bigger share. They pay less than their share, less than their fair share, as it is said. What is the optimal tax rate? The Laffer curve is demonstrated that there is some optimal value between 0 and 100. Obviously, at 100%, you can't have any revenue because nobody will work unless you force labor. No revenue at 0%. But the optimal revenue is somewhere in between. And many experts have it at around 10 to 15%. It's much, much higher than that right now. So what are the steps we can take towards tax reform? I'll give credit, first of all, to Dan Mitchell of Cato Institute, unless he wants me to take his name off of this, because I got some ideas from him here. And I differ on a couple of chords. First of all, you do want to implement a flat income tax, one fair low rate. No loopholes, no special interests, no refunds, just one low rate. Okay, national sales tax is a great idea, but it must be contingent on the 38th state, in other words, at least 38 states ratifying the No Income Tax Act. So you have to have a constitutional amendment prohibiting an income tax, which means repealing the 16th Amendment. You cannot implement the sales tax without killing the income tax, because Congress may decide they want both sources of revenue, despite whatever promises they may make. And this actually happened in several European countries, where they promised to get rid of the income tax in favor of a sales tax and ended up keeping both. What a great way to get both sources of revenue. And then, of course, you know, if they have a fair democracy, those leaders get unelected. So, those are the things that we can do to have a fair tax reform in the United States. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please write me at doug@realdealpolitics.com. Visit the website if you desire. No moronic tirades or idiotic lectures from leftists. I'll just delete them. This has been a presentation of Real Deal Politics. I hope you learned something about taxes today. See you next time.